Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Obviously you can't see outside right now, but it's actually night time. I'm in my garage and I've got a bonnet. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of testing, and what my testing is going to involve is a couple of graphene coatings. Now, not waxes, not quick detailers, full on graphene coatings. Both have got a 3-year durability claim. So I'm going to put them on this bonnet that we've got here. I'm going to let it cure for about a week, and then we're going to do a bit of torture testing on it. I'm going to do a few different things with it, play about with it. The beauty of this bonnet is that it was previously owned by a detailer, and the section over here on the bonnet already has a ceramic coating on it. I don't know how long it's been on for, I don't know what kind of coating it is, I'm trying to find out that information. But my thoughts are ceramic coating, graphene coating 1, graphene coating 2, and we can see how they compare. So this is the bonnet. It's already been decontaminated. This section of the bonnet here has nothing. This section here is what I think has some kind of coating on it. I'm pretty sure it's ceramic because I've hit this with GT0 Decon a few times. I've hit it with iron fallout remover, I've hit it with tar and glue remover, and I've clay barred it. And whatever's on that section there is still going extremely strong. There's a few marks on the bonnet down here. Don't know if you can see that there. A few scratches, a few blemishes up here as well. We'll play about with some pad combinations, see if we can get them out or see if we can reduce them. This one doesn't feel too bad to the touch, so we'll see what we can do. It's all about playing about and having a bit of fun with this, so nothing too serious in this video. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got a paint depth gauge. I'm going to take a few readings. Just best practice style stuff. 84, 120. 121 and 110. So a lot of readings come out in the 120 area, a couple a wee bit lower, a couple a little bit higher. So I'm going to go with, I've never, if it is a if it is a Seat bonnet, I've never worked on a Seat car before, so I don't, in terms of polishing, so I don't know if the paint is soft or if it's hard or not. Because this is a test panel, I'm just going to go straight in with a microfiber cutting pad and see what happens. So let's do it. See how that went. Microfiber towels from SGCB, absolutely dynamite for removing polishes, waxes, buffing. Go and grab yourself some, I'll leave a link down below. Yeah, it's worked pretty well. There's still a bit of haze in there because it was a microfiber cutting disc, so when we run over that with a finishing polish, It should bring through the clarity in it. Alright, so the bonnet has been polished. It's been cut, it's been finishing polished, and it's been panel wiped. So we've masked it up, we're good to go. Changed my mind a little bit. I'm going to do graphene 1 up here, graphene 2 here, leave the ceramic coating here. I'm going to put the graphene coatings on, and we're going to see how we get on with them, see how easy they are to apply. Okay, I've actually got something else that I'm going to try. This is a 1 year coating. Again, this is a demo, so I'm going to put that up here. You apply this one with a big sponge, spray it on. You need to let this one set for about 10 to 15 minutes before buffing back off, almost like a wax. So I'll apply this one, give it some cure time, get it buffed off, and let them cure. Okay. So give that some time to cure, buff it off, and that'll do us for today. Next time you'll see me is in about a week's time when I'm throwing some water at this, throwing some chemicals at it, seeing how it behaves, seeing how the water spots are looking and stuff like that. So I hope that wasn't too boring. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in a week. So we're back, it's about 10 days later. So the products have been curing on the bonnet for 10 days. So we're now going to do a little bit of torture testing on the coatings. And what we're going to do, so I've got a few things in mind. Firstly, I'm going to put a citrus pre-wash on it. I'm going to dilute it down quite strong, so it'll be around about 3 to 1. And I'm going to leave it in the sun, I'm going to let it bake on before rinsing it off to see if it has any kind of damaging effect to any of the coatings or even through to the paint itself. Following on from that, I'm going to put a citrus pre-wash neat onto the bonnet. Again, I'm going to let it bake into the sun and again see if it does any damage, see if any of the coatings are degraded, if there's any damage to the paint underneath or anything like that. Following on from that, we're going to do the exact same thing with Wax Planet's 8 Below Snow Foam. We're going to put it on, we're going to let it dry in the sun, we're going to see how we get on with that and then rinse it off. Then I'm going to do Garage Therapy Zero Decon, essentially to try and just cleanse everything off it just in case anything's still left on. I think after that, what the plan is I'm going to use a sponge. And it's one of those kind of, you know, the sink sponges you get, those horrible things that I've got like the sponge and then the kind of green Brillo pad effect type thing on it. And the whole purpose of that is, I want to see these coatings have, some of these coatings have a 9H hardness rating, and I want to see if there's any kind of scratch resistance. So it should be quite straightforward to see. When we look at the swirls, you should be able to see if there's less swirls in graphene 1 or less swirls in graphene 2 or less swirls in the ceramic. And then lastly, I'm going to get some household bleach. I'm not going to put any water in it, and I'm going to put bleach straight on it and see if that can break down any of the coatings, if we get that far, that is. And also, just one other thing to note at this point, I got a graphene paste wax and I just wanted to see how it compared. So on the lower part of the bonnet, which isn't in the shot right now, we've put a graphene paste wax on it. It's had maybe nine days or so to cure. So it'll be interesting to see how that stands up to some of the chemicals that we throw at it, if it stands up to any at all. So nothing more to do, but let's go and do some testing. I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of how the protection is looking before I apply this. So let's see how we go. I'm just going to let this sit here in the sun, let it dry in, then I'll come back and rinse it off in a few minutes. Alright, so the panel's now dry to the touch. It's actually got a kind of greasy film over it now from where the pre-wash is dried in. So I'm going to rinse it off, we'll see what the water behaviour looks like. Then after that I'm going to use some citrus pre-wash neat on it and we'll do the same thing. So very interesting to note that it's had no effect on the ceramic, either of the graphenes or the long-term sealant that I've put on, and it looks like it had a mega effect on the graphene paste wax. So on to the next one, which is going to be a citrus pre-wash straight up. Okay, this is now mostly dried into that same kind of greasy surface that's on that now. So we'll rinse it off. I've actually got a bucket with some pure shampoo and a mitt just to get any of the stuff off after the rinse, and we will see if anything's degraded any. Alright, well, safe to say that the graphene wax is dead. Alright, we've not got all day, so I'm just going to rinse it off, get rid of it. I've got some Garage Therapy Zero at 10 to 1 that I'm going to spray on to kind of cleanse the panel, and then we're going to go into some more aggressive testing. Alright, so the sealant's actually still performing quite well considering it's only a 1 year coating. However, spraying the Garage Therapy Zero Decon on it definitely took a hit. The graphene coating number 1 is still performing phenomenal. Graphene coating number 2 is definitely taking a bit of a hit, and the ceramic coating it's also taken a bit of a hit. So let's get a bit more nasty with it now. Now in this instance we're not actually going to see anything at the moment, swirl wise, but what we'll do is once we get everything dried off and back into the garage, we'll get the torch out and we'll have a closer look to see how much swirls and damage we've inflicted into the panel. Mega amounts of scratches and swirls on it now. You can see it from here. Hopefully it will be highlighted a bit more once we get back in and get some LED lights on it. But that is looking absolutely done in now, which is great because it means that we can polish it back up and do something else with it. Okay, last test of the day for me today, and what I've got is some household bleach, and I'm going to put that on. I kind of really want to try and kill off this graphene coating now, because it seems to be performing the best out of everything that's on the bonnet at the moment. I'll let that bake in on the sun for a few minutes. Same procedure, rinse off, wash it with a wash mitt and see if anything's left. And this was straight up bleach, this was non-diluted, so see how it copes with it. You can see what it's doing to the masking tape already. Bleach is pretty baked on, didn't take long to dry out. I'm going to rinse it off, give it a good rinse off, wash it with a shampoo and see if anything survived. Okay, so the testing was done there, and I was actually quite surprised by some of the results. I'm not going to lie, I didn't expect great things from the graphene coatings. I know I've been playing about with a lot of different graphene things on the channel, and really surprised by graphene coating 1. Graphene coating 1 certainly seemed to outlast the ceramic that was already on the bonnet. Now bearing in mind that it's not a true reflection of the ceramic that's on the bonnet, because when I was preparing the panel I washed it with Zero Decon, you know, it was fully decontaminated. I even used a clay bar on it. So for the ceramic coating still to be standing up quite well in comparison with the graphene coating, would be pretty pleased with the outcome in terms of the ceramic. Graphene coating number 2 got to a certain point and then it just kind of really started to die. The long-term sealant that we have up at the top, that done really well. I was really impressed with that, especially considering that it had baked on citrus, baked on pure citrus and baked on snow foam, and it still withstood all them. It wasn't really until we got to the Zero Decon stage that it started to take a little bit of a hit, and the bleach gave it a bit of a hit as well. Really surprised by graphene wax, which basically died at the first sight of a chemical. I was quite disappointed by that. In terms of how they came out on top of chemical resistance, graphene coating number 1 definitely looked as if it done a bit. We're going to have a quick look at the scratch resistance and see if there's any kind of swirls in the bonnet. So in terms of scratch resistance, it was very difficult for me to get it to show up on camera, so I'm not even going to bother wasting your time trying to show you some swirls. But essentially they all look the same. To be honest, the level of swirls in each section of the bonnet is very similar, probably down to the kind of Brillo pad effect type thing that I was using. So you can almost discount that from the test. But I mean, in terms of the whole point in this test was to try out a couple of graphene coatings and give feedback to a couple of companies. And to be fair, graphene coating number 1, I was actually quite impressed with. The long-term durability, once it's out in the sunshine and getting hit with all different kinds of weather, you know, who knows, Each of these coatings have a 3-year durability claim, apart from the long-term sealant, which was 1 year, or 18 months if you applied 2 coats. Now, graphene coating number 2 is, I don't see that ever getting 3 years durability out of it. The ceramic coating, I was still unable to find out the brand and type, and it lasted, or it performed just about as well as graphene coating number 1, but we've got absolutely no idea how long it's been on the car for, and it obviously withstood the pre-wash and the decontamination before I even polished other sections of the bonnet up. So it's done well, definitely done well. But I hope you found that informative. I certainly have. In fact, I've got this little beauty in with me just now, which is about to get, so that's about to get a full wash, decontamination. I'm going to polish up all the tank and any of the painted areas, and I'm going to finish it off with graphene coating number 1, because I was that impressed with it, to be quite honest. So again, I hope you found this informative. If you're new to the channel, do us a favour and hit that subscribe button. Helps me out massively, doesn't cost you anything. Hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one.